some of the curves here a little bit. I have a really strong line right here. I don't really need it. It's not helping my design. And so I'm just picking up some of the bigger pieces. Just to try and soften it just a little bit. I had a really sharp corner right here that I wanted to take out. And this wasn't as nice and round as I wanted it to be, right? You can still see right here, it's got a little bit of a strange shape, right? So I might be able to go in there and just knock a couple more little pieces out of there. And then I should be good, right? Here, I think I might have to take and make a cut, bring this cut down a little bit further to clean that up where I want it to be. But the idea here is that you find a high spot, and you just go ahead. So right here, I'm going to hit right here, right? And then maybe a little bit over here, and then I clean that right up, right to where I want it to be. Nice and clean the whole way down. I don't mind the points. I just don't want, you know, when looking at the overall form, I don't want to have an angle. I mean, a lot of the work that I do has an angle in it and kind of relies on the angles to explain a little bit. But sometimes I just don't want them there, right? Like there's a point right here that I don't really like, but it's quite a big point, so I think I'm going to have to use a bigger chisel so that I can knock it off a bit more square, right? This one might take a couple more hits because I gotta create a fracture point underneath this in the stone in order to get it to go where I want it to go. And then here I got a real high spot. So I really should be going on it from the other side, but if I go on it from the other side, I'm worried that it's going to shear a big chunk off. And I don't want a big piece coming out. I just want this little bit right here. And I can pretty much control a fracture line the whole way along there if I hit it right. And you'll notice I'm not hitting as hard as I was. Because I don't want big chunks, I don't want big scooping chunks to come out of there. I just want little pieces coming out, right? And here I made a bit of a saw cut earlier, thinking that I was going to round this all with the saw, but now that I'm seeing this, I'm really liking the way that it looks. So I'm just going to kind of bust it a little bit so it's more soft. You know, a little bit of saw here and there. It looks okay, but it's not that necessary. Now you'll notice I'm wearing a full-face respirator, and the reason I'm doing that, when I started carving, I always used to wear just a half face and a pair of glasses. But you're seeing how these chips are flying all over the damn place, right? Well, they're really sharp, and they're moving pretty fast. And it's amazing how shitty it feels to get one of those that pings you in the forehead, right? So I switched to this because there's a couple of reasons. I mean, I've got a wider lens on this so I can see more of what's going on. And when you consider that I have to wear a respirator, I might as well wear a respirator that's, you know, one-piece thing, right? I don't have to worry about glasses then. So, I'm looking at this now, thinking that I probably don't need to go back in there with the saw. I'm kind of liking the way that it looks. Of course, I'm not really going to be able to tell for sure, until I stand it right up. This piece is a little bit too big to be just standing up on the bench. I mean, if it was sitting on the floor, I can just stand it up on my own. Because the floor is good and solid, but this bench is, I mean, it's just a couple of pieces of old shoring timber, right? So, yeah. I like the way that looks. I don't want to get too picky about this, right? I mean, this thing for me is about the form. It's about the basic idea, right? So, now what I'm going to do, because I had a couple places on the sides down in here that I wanted to look at too while I was standing it up. I had a couple places, right? So my issues were right here. I had, it was just a cut. I took that out, softened that. Now I can see from the side that that's a nice gradual line, right? We want to take a lot out of there. Certainly didn't want to take a whole saw cut out of there. So, I think I'm good here. Around. Now, you notice when I'm doing this, it might look like it's kind of easy, right? And if you want to think about that in a little bit more of a realistic sense, I've been moving big blocks of stone for like 13 years. So, hauling around something like this right now isn't that big of a deal. See, I'm really liking this nice curvy line that I've got flowing through here, right? I think I need to take some out of here, and I'm thinking to do that, I really will have to use the saw. But before I can do that, I gotta one of the biggest things you gotta watch for when you're moving a big block of stone, it's really tempting to just stick your hand underneath it there. Well, I'd be willing to bet that this is still probably, damn near 400 pounds of the stone still, if not 6. So, you don't want your fingers under there when that thing comes slamming down, man. It's not going to feel good. It's going to change the way that you get to give people the finger later in life, right? Now I'm seeing a ledge that I've got here, right? I can go in here with this chisel and just pop that like that. Now I don't want to be real aggressive with it, I just want to pop it up, because what I don't want is when you're looking at that line, I don't want you to go to that line and then see this, right? I want that line to carry on. If it does this, I'm okay. But I don't want it to look like there's a flat in it, you know? It might be a little bit hard to understand, and, in all honesty, when I'm making a piece that I'm just carving for myself, not worrying about what other people think about it, or, whether it's saleable or any of that sort of stuff, when I'm just carving what I want to carve, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the instantaneous moment, that little space of time where I'm looking at it and it all of a sudden becomes right. That's what I'm trying to find, right? That's the whole idea here for me, is to find that point. Now, and at that point again, where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, do I need to? Do I need to go in there? Is this just me? How necessary is that for the piece? But looking at the other side, thinking that it might be kind of nice to come in here with some flat parts as well as this rough part that I've got. I'm looking at it thinking, I might get in there with the saw a little bit, Not a lot, just a little bit. Just to make this one pet stand out a little bit more so that I've got a little bit more of a dive in going, right? So,